Yes. If you include the wasp priestess, that's half. All right, so we say it's half woman, half wasp. So you've got half. So you've got 1.5 women in that book, all right, who show a hell of a lot of spirit, who are feisty, who can get the job done. The wasp priestess. I mean, you've really got to read some books, my friend. You have no idea.
It is true that a lot of the female characters do end up dead in Darkplace, but if you look at their character, they're not all what they seem. Broccoli, when she appears, on first look, to be a perfectly beautiful, healthy young lady. She's not. She's meant a broccoli. So she's hiding something.
I'm not saying that sex is the cause of their death. I'm not saying it's because they have sex that they die. I'm saying they have sex and then they die. Put it this way. When you are making love, everything is potent, okay? You probably won't know that, but take it from me, all right? When you're busy doing it, everything's potent. You are raised to the highest pitch of experience, okay? You're at a knife edge the whole time. It's a knife edge as to whether or not you're gonna... I can't say that. Put it this way, you're out of control, or can be out of control. Now, all I'm saying is that at such extremes, the chances are you're going to do something stupid like die afterwards. I grew up in the shit, yeah? I could tell you about all kinds of shit. I can tell you about horse manure, I can tell you about dog poop, I can tell you about human excrement too, because I've seen it, and I've smelt it, and I've talked to the guys who made it. So up yours, pal. I work a 24-hour day. I dream, I get up at around 9, read the papers till 10, breakfast till 11, and then there's a bit of admin I need to do. And then I hit the typewriter at about 11:45. And then I break at 1:30 for lunch, which Pam usually makes. And then we'll go into town during the afternoon. I might read a bit in the afternoon. And then it's really dinner. And then it's, thinking about dreaming again.
It's nice to see you back in the black leather.
What do you mean, back in the black leather?
Well, on Darkplace, you wore a doctor's cape.
I've always liked black leather. I like the buffalo. I like cows. I like that food group, and I like to wear what I eat in a way. There's always a roast in our house, either on the table hot with gravy on the stove, or in the fridge cold and ready for the slice. They often say to people, "You've got a sweet tooth." With me, they say, "You've got a meat tooth," and they're right. I love meat. Pam loves meat. The children don't love meat, but that's what we cook them. And until they can afford to buy their own vegetarian food, they're just going to have to lump it.
You use humour brilliantly.
Oh, thank you.
How do you write such funny jokes?
Oh, well, if I hadn't been a horror writer, I think I'd have been a sort of musical comedian type. I'm very funny in conversation. People love what I say. They find them very funny. I'm just blessed with a natural wit. Pardon?
Sorry, do you try your jokes out on anyone?
I don't have to.
They just come naturally.
Well, I do try them. If I find a joke that works, I'll repeat it. I don't have to try them out. I mean, I know they're going to work.
You've got a very funny anecdote about your first pet.
I used to take him for walks up the road, and I used to let him off the leash. And he'd run into the mud, and he'd get muddy, and he'd get dirty, and he'd be barking, and I'd have only just cleaned him earlier, And he'd come back, and he'd be stinking, right? Because he'd been rolling in, God knows what, probably cow turd, something like that. And I remember one day he came bounding back, and I said, "Get away, I'm not getting near you." And I ducked out the way, and he tried to hump a child. And we nearly had him put down. I grow bloody sick of how many bloody letters I have penned and sent off and received no reply to. So this was always a kind of to the government.
Sorry, what are you upset about, Garth?
The fact that they never replied to me.
Who?
Them.
Who have you been writing to?
The people. The people who hide it from us.
Oh, what, the government?
Yes. I'm not going to call them that because I don't believe they govern.
You've got a funny theory about who is running the country.
I certainly have.
Who's that?
Rats.
Garth has many strange theories. Broccoli coming from space is just one. I don't like broccoli. I don't eat it as a rule. It's very fashionable now to eat. It could easily come from space. I'm sure that's nonsense, though.
Not many people know this, but there's a theory going around that wasps were the originators of life on this earth. We actually come from wasps. There's a part of wasp in all of us. However, there are some pure people who are of this earth. I think I'm from this kind who view the wasp as, you know, our clan enemy. So I see myself as a crusader, a vigilante against them. They're disgusting creatures. They're very evil too. And they think. It's a hive mind. We're all part of a hive mind. Did you know that? We are.
I know that you have a chill corner in your house.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done there?
It's very simple. And if you're a serious student of the Fantastique, you'll take heed. You take a corner of your house and you have your chilly books there and you sit in your chair and you can pick up a candelabra probably for about a couple of quid now if you go to one of these garden places. Put that beside you. Black candles. Make sure you've got some extinguisher or something should there be an accident. And I recommend the music of Ioannis Exanis, Bohor 1. Put that on and I guarantee you a nightmare.
Do you think that's a thing many people in the world are trying to achieve?
No.
I think Garth, in terms of calibre of artist, will be remembered up with the very best. He'll be remembered in the same breath as Rick Astley. He'll be remembered in the same breath as Maureen Lipman. I would like my remains scattered among the tables of my club.
And what does Garth want done to his?
Garth wants to have his remains blown out of a medieval horn. I am self-taught. In fact, I've made it a point of honour never to learn anything from anyone else. My mother, God rest her, even though she's alive, but let's make sure that God helps her get some rest, brought me up on her own, worked a number of jobs. She was a quick fit fitter, she was a pool cleaner, and she was a taxidermist. And she did taxidermy nights. If there was a rush job on a stuff, she would be called in. And that's just the nasty stuff. That's getting the gristle out, that's getting the bone out, that's getting the innards out. And she would do that through the night, come back, clean a pool, get down quick fit, and then same again.
Nice to see you both, gentlemen.
Hello.
Oh, it's good to be seen, Paul.
You've been a team for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's
Too
talk
long.
about how that first happened.
Well,
Why Dean, Garth?
Well,
why not?
I knew who he was because he was making the papers from a very early age and I was only 15, 16.
The magazine that I was working on was called Dude, and it changed its name to Fella, more English. And it was a mixture of erotica and fantastic stories. I got a story by Garth Marenghi, writing under a pseudonym at that time, so I didn't know who he was, called Face Bottom. I read it, and I thought, "Hey, there's something here." Not only is this a very haunting story about a guy whose face is literally half a bottom, but it's also a allegory of the Biafra conflict. This is very exciting, isn't it? Let's give him a call. Come into the office, please. Came into the office, met, got on, and he just signed my chest. We never had anything written. He signed my chest right there and then. In retrospect, I should have got something in writing. It was hubris on my part. Um,